Hello and welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth.
And I am Stacey Earlywine. What a great day.
We have a great day planned on this show. We got so many fun things to talk about, as always.
As always, every show
always do.
is great.
We have so much fun. So if you're just joining us for the first time, we love to talk about anything from the past. So we talk about the history of Clay County, but we also talk about really fun vintage items and fun old advertisements.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know. If it happened a long time ago, we talk about it, don't we?
It's funny how I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I can, I can think of things that happened back.
Yes.
Long time ago.
I'm the same way. Like, what did I do yesterday? I don't know.
What did I do? I have no idea. Where did I go? What did I do?
But would you like to hear the history of Clay City? But we're not talking about Clay City today.
We're not talking about Clay City today. No, we're going to talk about a couple of businesses.
Yes.
In the Flora area. So
Yes.
we've got a lot of fun things to talk about. So.
Yes, we do. So what do we want to start with? We
Well,
want to start with our advertisements?
We always start with our handy dandy Better Homes and Gardens magazine.
That's right.
Look at this. Okay, Beth, zoom
zoom
in.
on that.
Let's see. Please don't get a glare. This glare.
Bring it up a little bit. Bring it up higher. There we go.
There it is.
Like that.
Okay, I just got to do this. Look
Yes.
at that little girl.
Ah, she's so cute. What year is this?
April 1947.
Cool. Okay. So
Isn't that neat? Look at her. Now, how many little girls just sit on their bed reading a magazine with a little
she's
bow
so
in their hair?
sweet.
Look at that little lace.
25-cent magazine.
Yeah.
And the World War II had just ended the year prior, right?
Yep.
So here we are in 47, and she's relaxing at home with her magazine.
Yes, she is.
Okay.
I'll tell you. I love that lamp in the back.
Yeah.
I love so much old stuff. I got to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
One time, I love auctions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got obsessed with auctions. When I was a little girl, my mother took me to auctions all the time. That was back in the glory days when you could buy a box for like 25 cents.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have always loved auctions, and then I got older and even, enjoyed them even more. Well, there was a Murphy's over in Clay City was this place, and it had a ton of stuff inside this building.
Okay.
And they were going out of business.
Okay.
So they had this huge auction. Well, I'm over there just with my number. Boom, 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 this and that. Because there was just, when I say stuff, I mean like piled high. And I'll never forget that I called Jim and I said, hey, I'm over here at Clay City at Murphy's. It's right by the railroad track, And I said, I kind of need you to bring your truck.
Uh-oh. Jim's like, what did you buy?
He said, what have you done? And I said, well, I think this would have been time. I had that little convertible that I drive.
Okay.
And so it didn't, I think he was slightly over exaggerating because I just had that little convertible. So, I wasn't going to put much in there. So he brought his truck over. And, it was one of the great auctions. Like everything was like going for $1, $5. Because there was just so much stuff. It was overwhelming. Yeah. And, he came home and he brought that truck over there and we filled the whole back of that truck.
Oh, cool.
With just stuff and the cab of the truck was just, and he got in there and as he drove away, he kind of put it back in reverse. He said, by the way, Stacey, I feel like Fred Sanford right now.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, oh, woman, what have you done?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so,
love those
but anyway, this in our Better Homes, our advertisement.
Yes. Let's get back
I think
to
it's
that.
page 55. This is exactly what the kind of thing that I would have bought at an auction.
Okay. Here it is on the screen.
Look at this.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yes. This is the ABCs of table furnishings.
Oh, that's beautiful. I know someone else that would have bought those at an auction. That would be my mother. She loves dishes.
Dishes?
She has beautiful dishes.
Oh, yeah. They're amazing. And you know what? And the only pattern is the bottom left pink. Now, that pattern I've seen. But I love the way because they're not talking just dishes. They've got the glasses.
Does it say a brand or are these all different brands?
They're all different brands.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's also flatware featured.
Yes.
Okay. And glassware.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you've got like your provincial print, your French vineyard, the toll and tapestry, Pennsylvania primitive. That's the yellow.
Okay.
Oh, the sweet clover. We've seen that pattern before.
Is that the one in the middle?
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
The pressed violets, the frothy floral, which is my favorite on the bottom, the Reynolds painting, and the Clipper chips.
Okay, Clipper chips. Is that the blue there in the bottom?
That's the blue one, and it's Clipper chips.
Reminds me of that. I'd like to see that blue in person. Like, is that
I bet it's spectacular.
Blue? Yeah, I bet it is.
Oh, and I love the way, because it's so funny, because like the glasses, go with the French vineyard up front, like that wine glass has like got little grapes and stuff on it. You really can't see it. But the glasses.
Not very many people set a table like that anymore.
No, we really don't. I mean, most of the time we probably live off of paper plates and stuff. Yeah. But I just think that is fantastic. Like that.
That is. It's beautiful.
So I don't know. I mean, like, did you do? Okay, so like whenever I got married in '88.
Okay.
And back when I was in school, like high school and stuff, we had hope chests. Am I the hope chest generation and you're not? Did you have a hope chest?
I did not have one, but when I was a kid, I kind of wanted one. That would have been in the 80s. Again, they were big, but I didn't have one.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that you had a hope chest and you like started. You filled it
with things for when you got married.
Exactly, and I remember.
I don't think anyone did that in the 90s.
Do weddings today like like you have the bridal registries and you never see like china patterns. To have a whole full set of china was big.
Right. I don't think anybody does that anymore because I mean some people might, but I think a lot of people look at it like we're probably not going to use that on a daily basis. So don't purchase it.
Well, I got on a buying kick of China, and you just get because it got where it's one thing. Like I said back when Mom and I would go, and like you could buy a whole set. You could buy like a 50-piece set. We're talking the bread and the salad and the plates and the bowls and the gravy and the everything and the cups and saucers and stuff. And you could buy like a whole thing of China for $10, and now it's like they sell it like by the piece.
Right.
And it got to be really crazy. My my sister Trudy Lambert, she gave me I got a whole beautiful set of china that she had given me that I believe was her grandmother's, and she and my sister Diane, they were cleaning out some stuff in their house, and and Diane's come and say, "Hey sis, Trudy's got all this china." Yep, I know where you're going.
Yep, I want it.
Yes, I want it, and I have it. I have it displayed.
So, do you use it though? Do you ever set the table? And
Easter.
Okay.
I use it on Easter, because it's got that real pretty, floral print.
It looks like spring.
It looks like spring. So
I love a pretty table setting.
Oh, me too.
But as much as I admire it, I don't ever take the time to do it. And we eat off of Corelle-ware at home. Not that there's anything wrong with Corelle-ware, because I love it. It's old too. I mean, it's. The ones I use are an old print, and I'm partial to them, but we don't do it. We don't do fancy.
When I was going to the church at the Clay City Methodist Church, we did a Mother's Day banquet, and I can't remember how many, but there were like 8 or 9 of us like picked tables, and we decorated the tables like this.
Oh, fun.
Oh my gosh, and we wore big hats, and it was spectacular. And I am a pink and green Depression glass girl, so mine was very Victorian with the lace and it was. There's a picture of it somewhere. I got to go through and try to find some pictures and stuff, because it was stunning, but it was exhausting.
Yeah.
But I think
that's a lot of dishes. It just doesn't end with the meal. Then you have to wash it all.
Oh, yeah, because, you pull out the pink and green salt and pepper shakers, and you pull,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all that stuff. Do you collect anything?
I had Fiesta-ware for years, and I have some of it, but about, 5 years ago, I sold it all. And a bunch of people on Facebook were like, "Girl, you're crazy. Why are you selling?" Like, I sold piles and piles of Fiesta-ware on Facebook, and people thought I was nuts. But it's like, you know what? I've had this since I got married. I've collected it through the years, and it's beautiful. But I don't ever use it, and it is taking up my entire china cabinet.
Right.
And so, and it weighed a lot. And so I kept.
That's heavy.
Yeah, I kept the pieces that I use. Like there are some serving pieces and some bowls and platters that I kept, of course, because I continue to use those.
Right.
But I sold the most of it, and guess what I filled up my china cabinet with?
What?
quilts.
Oh my goodness.
Old antique quilts like the one behind me, and they are beautiful.
They
make me a whole lot happier than my Fiesta wear. So to whomever bought my Fiesta wear, I hope you are loving it as much as I love my quilts. I even love getting it out and cleaning it. I mean, I like to wash it and stuff. I haven't done it for a while. A few years ago, my home was featured on the Christmas tour. Yeah, and oh my gosh, the whole entire house just sparkled, and me and some friends, my sisters, my mom, we came over and we took everything, and I'm talking there's like 3 or 4 china cabinets full of pink and green and stuff that I've collected, and we took everything and hand washed everything and scrubbed that. Oh my gosh, my house has never looked so pretty in that time. I remember I went on that tour. Your house was lovely.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. It's all decorated, and
it's old. I wish it was about 20 years older, but it is. It
will be in 20 years.
Yeah. I guess it's just going to keep getting older like the rest of us are. But my daughter-in-law Paige likes Fiesta. She's into the Fiesta. Where I never did really get into it. Those plates are really, but you can buy that stuff brand new now.
Yeah,
too.
you can, but the old stuff's prettier. But I just like color. I like bright colors, and that was most of the time they're bright. So yeah. Well,
I think it's gorgeous, and one of the reasons why I picked that specific advertisement today was it's kind of going to go along with the stories. One of the stories that we're going to cover today, and that is the Scudamore Building in downtown Flora. Yeah. And we'll have to take a commercial break here shortly, but that place was magnificent.
It was huge.
I can't even comprehend. From
it was the Walmart of Flora back in the day. Yeah, before there was a Walmart, there was in Flora there was Scudamore's.
Oh, a fascinating story of the men that started the Scudamore, the brothers, Scudamore brothers, and you want to talk about having everything in there.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah,
they covered it all. If you needed it, I think they had it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna take care of all that. There are 2 different locations. We're going to talk about the 2 different locations. We've got some really fun pictures. Some like in the night, because we're talking. This is the 1900s. The 1900.
Okay.
1900 is when they made their way to Flora, and we'll discuss that a little bit after our commercial break.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth.
And I am Stacey.
Okay, so today we are talking about some businesses in Flora.
Yes, we are. And yeah, one of them that we're going to cover is the Scudamore Building.
Okay.
It seems like a lot of times in all the research that I have come across, Scudamore comes up a lot.
Yes, you hear that name.
Yeah, and there's actually a street
name
in
Scudamore.
town. Scudamore is named after the family. And very interesting. And there are still Scudamores living in Flora. Marge Wilson was a Scudamore.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, Marge Wilson. Her family is the one that started the
Right.
Scudamore Brothers. So, a little breakdown of the Scudamore Brothers.
Okay.
Now, we're talking, this is the year 1900. 1900.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in the 20th century.
Right, but
brand
just
new.
to put that in context, like the depot hadn't even been built yet at that time. Yeah.
No.
So this town had been around for about 50 years.
Yes.
Flora started in the...
From what I understand, there were three brothers. They were, and I love the names, J.C. Scudamore, W.D. Scudamore, and C.C. Scudamore.
Okay.
They all went by those initials, which are fun. And they actually originated, they have come from other places, but before they came to Florida, they were in Wayne County.
Okay.
And they actually had a mercantile business in Clay County. In Wayne County.
Okay, so...
Now, Wayne County, they were big on trade and cash exchanges. The Scudamores were. Well, when they got to Wayne County, Wayne County wanted them to go away from the cash type of business and do more credit.
Oh, that'll get you into trouble.
Yeah, and these gentlemen, and they, from every accounts that I found, they were gentlemen.
Okay.
And they just did not want to do that. Well, this time Flora is now on the map, and Flora is starting to grow.
Okay.
And there was a lady in Flora, and her name was Mrs. Loretta Arbuthnot.
Arbuthnot. Okay.
Arbuthnot, a very interesting name. So I'm thinking it's 1900s. It's Loretta Arbuthnot, and she owns a merchandise store.
Okay, so that's a very early time for a woman to own a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I wonder, like, if her husband had owned it and he had passed, and she became that. We might have to.
We may have to.
Loretta.
I bet she's got an interesting story.
Yeah, we need to figure out Loretta.
So, but now she's at the point where she's done. She doesn't want to do it anymore. So the Scudamore brothers come to Flora, and they purchase Miss Loretta's mercantile business. And let's go to that first photo.
Okay.
La la la. There it is.
Okay.
Look at this building. So this building, and look at the people in front of it.
Oh, I love this
See,
picture.
and you can see on the bottom left hand, now it's changed. They have bought it, and it says Scudamore Brothers on
Okay.
it. So that's all the brothers and the wives. Look at the wives. You can see two of them are in
Yes.
white shirts and blacks, and the other one's in all black. This building actually it set on the corner where the China Buffet in Flora is right now.
Okay.
It's not that building because unfortunately this building burned by fire.
Let's look at the top of that building real quick. At the it says Arbuthnot at the top. Do you see that?
Oh, it does.
It says something Arbuthnot, SG maybe. I'd have to zoom in on that a little bit when it's on the computer.
Look at the
But
detail
very
of that
cool.
building. Yeah.
Wow.
So you're talking, that's a large corner. That's right on the corner. That would be on the what? The northeast
East corner
of Locust
and North Avenue.
East North Avenue. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
a really cool building.
I'm glad you saw that. I didn't even see that.
So the Arbuthnot's built that.
Yes.
And then she sold it. I bet she ran it with her husband, and I bet he passed away, and then she sold the business. I bet that's what happened.
What do you think is in that right front window on there? What do you think that is? Does it look like dresses?
I think it might be dresses, but that would be unusual for there to be, unless it was wedding dresses. Not normally did they wear all white.
True.
Or could it be like furniture covered in sheets or something? Or
It might be.
know.
Wow,
Interesting.
it is impressive, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Very cool picture.
So now that they have taken over,
Okay.
and they were in that spot till 1916. So we're
Okay.
talking, they come to town in 1900. They buy the mercantile store from Mrs. Loretta, and they're there for 16 years.
Okay, 16 years they stayed there, and then
Okay.
fire.
Let's go to that next picture where they have a big sale. This is before the fire. There's another.
Oh, wait. I
Wait.
don't think that's it.
No, I think it's number. Look
Number
at
one.
that.
Yes.
Look at this picture, guys. Is that not fat? I just literally got chills.
the people.
They probably think we're crazy, but I literally just got chills
Oh, I
looking
know.
at
I think this is a beautiful picture because look at how the town just poured out,
Yes.
and they're and take a look. Like if you look in the bottom right corner of your screen, like that little lady in her sweet little white dress. After I just said they don't normally wear all white, she is.
She
But
is.
this is like a dressy occasion, I believe. This wouldn't be their everyday clothes. I bet these are their
Yeah.
Sunday best.
The caption on this is "Big Sale at Scudamore Brothers" at the bottom of this picture.
Okay.
But you got the horse, so look at the gentlemen. They're way up high on a wagon. So you got like the wagon, the
Yeah.
carriages that they rode in on.
What are they looking at?
I don't know.
What are they doing?
It
I
makes
need to
you
know.
wonder if they are just letting so many people in at a time. That is a large crowd, guys.
Yes. Was it Black Friday?
I don't know, but I think I bet it was.
I bet it was. The original
difference-
Black Friday
Yeah.
started right here in Flora, Illinois.
1900 Black Friday, and nobody's like ripping apart Cabbage Patch dolls.
No,
you know?
no.
Hey, I can't say too much about that. My mom would throw down on a Black Friday if necessary to get us what we wanted. She was
I can be a little ruthless too.
Oh, her and my Aunt Barb Cunningham. Oh my gosh, her and Mom they went all weekend. I'll never forget. The day after Thanksgiving, they went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They didn't
wow.
we didn't see them for 3 days. And yeah, my mom was typical.
She was a shopper.
She was that weird shopper that so it's like, okay, I'm here and Stacey wants this and it's $5.99, but over here I'm going to shop and shop and shop, and I'm going to go back over here, but now I found it for $7.99, so now I'm going to make my way back to the $5.99.
Oh.
That was my mother.
Okay.
That's why I didn't go shopping with my mom. Linda, my sister Linda, and Mom could shop a lot together, but I'm like, kill me now, because I'm just like, go in and get what you need.
Go in, get what you need, leave.
But I think that was fantastic.
Yes. So that was a big sale, but and that building that the sale is at, let's look at that again. That's the second building, because the one that
Yes.
has already burned.
Yes.
So
So
what-
in
what year?
1916, the beautiful building that had the arbuthnot on the top, in 1916, it catches fire.
Okay.
And it burns down. It not only burned down, but it also took out the Scudamore Brothers department store, J.C. Meyer building,
This is
and
the one
it
that
took out the J. Valbert building. So
Okay.
you're talking that's on the north side of the street, and literally when that went up in flames, and they never did know what the cause of the fire was, but when it went up in flames, it burned down the other two buildings to the east of it.
Wow, that was a big fire.
It was a huge concern because they actually thought that it would take out the whole town.
Oh my.
That fire
Can you
burned
imagine?
and it burned. But you're talking like we're talking the Meyer building. I don't know what was in the Meyer building. We might need to look at that. But at Valbert, it's Valbert's
Right.
feed, that
Right.
type of stuff, and that department store. I mean, they would have been oil lanterns.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the stuff, and it probably would have burned. It's crazy, though, how many of our historic buildings have burned down to the ground.
Well, fire was pretty common back then, just because there was, they might have heated it with wood and had actual open flames in the building.
Right.
I don't know. Not an expert, but
Not an expert. We like to think we are, but we're not experts, are we? But anyway, so then at that point, so those buildings all burned down. Of course, then they're built up, the buildings we have now, and we can cover that.
take a look at our next picture.
Yes. So then let's go. This is the inside of the Scudamore building. Now we are on the property. Show the Scudamore building. That's just the big brick building, babe.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, there's one more picture of the Scudamore building that looks more grand than that.
Okay.
It actually shows it.
I don't remember which
Is
one
it
that
number
was.
6?
That was the Abernuth one.
Okay, let's flip through these so we can find just the
Okay,
main.
we have a lot of images.
We do have a lot of images. We can come back and go over them. There
Yeah,
it
there we
is.
go.
There it
Okay.
is. So now this building is just literally across the street. Right now in Flora, it is where the medical center parking lot's at. But this building goes all the way over. I would say not only that parking lot, but I would say probably where
Yes.
Crusade
Power and-
Enterprises or Power and Grace was at, and
Yeah.
goes all the way back to 2nd Street.
Yeah, Crusade
This-
was on the other side of the street. This would be where the parking lot is for Clay Medical that's
right.
now abandoned,
Oh,
and then
well-
and then part of Power and Grace.
Well,
right?
Power and Grace used to be, Crusade had 2 locations.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they had 2 locations. So there was.
I'm so young. I only remember the one on the south side of the street.
Yeah, no, Crusade
Okay.
was, and then that turned into before it was Power and Grace, Tiffany from Louisville. I
Yeah.
just went blank at it. But anyway, so we're talking. This is a huge, huge, huge building. Okay, what I love about this, so like you've got 2 or 3 floors. You've got your first floor, you got your second floor. So the Scudamore brothers were big on cash, and they were big on trade. So let's say you came in there and you didn't have the money that you needed for something. They would literally take, you'd have eggs, you would have chickens, and they like to trade with people like in that type of way. The other thing is the cashier, when you walk into those buildings, all your goods and stuff are downstairs. But the cashier was on the second floor. So this is fun. Could you imagine this at Walmart now?
No, you have to go upstairs to check out.
No. You walk in and there is a pulley system.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
you would hand a gentleman your ticket and your money, and then he'd do the pulley system, and it would go upstairs
Into like an office?
to an office, and the cashier was up there. She would take the ticket, and then she would bring your change back down by pulley system.
Oh, my goodness.
How fun is that?
That's really cool. Look at that old car, too.
I know it. Isn't that great?
This is a great photo. And the light, look at the top left corner of your screen. Are those like street lights? They look like light bulbs hanging from midair. See that?
Oh my goodness, it does. That wouldn't have been a thing, would it?
Maybe.
Because now we're talking 1916, 17 now. So we're
the other
talking.
one burned in 16, so this would have to be at least 17 or later. But
Right.
that car makes me think more like this is probably the 1930s or 40s in this photo. Maybe that's just something on the image in the top left corner.
I
Maybe
want
that's
those.
not lights.
I want those street lamps back too.
Yes.
I want the old street lamps back.
Dear Flora, can we please get old street lamps back? Thank you. Love, Beth and Stacey.
By the way,
Yeah.
City of Flora, can we
Yes,
please
by
get
the way.
by the way, can we get the old street lamps back?
Yes, yes.
A real funny story about street lamps. Jim and I took a trip with our exchange student, Carolina. We went. We did Route 66 down to Arizona,
yeah.
and then from Arizona, we went over to Roswell,
Cool.
New Mexico, because I wanted to see some aliens.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we went there, and their street lamps literally are kind of like that, but then at the top of them are all like aliens.
Oh, wow.
Alien faces, and they actually glow.
Oh, cool.
When they're on, they're like green.
Can you imagine raising kids there, though, and like having like a little 2-year-old going down the street and they'd be terrified?
Oh, I cannot imagine.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
cannot imagine. But another fun fact, before like when the Scudamore Building, and we're talking 1916, the
Okay.
Scudamore Building's estimated loss of inventory was $35,000.
When that burned down, they
When
lost
the-
$35,000.
$35,000 worth
Wonder
of
what
merch.
that's equal to in
I
today's
can't-
money.
I-
Millions, I bet. Millions.
What would it be?
Millions, I bet. I don't know. I'd have to ask Siri.
Yeah. Well, whenever we're done, we're going to ask Siri how much in 1916. What would 35? I bet it would probably be a couple $1,000,000, maybe. You think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because when we
Yeah,
come
definitely.
back from our commercial break, we're going to talk about and show more pictures about everything that you could buy in that store. And
That's
I
right.
wish I would have been alive to.
Yeah, to
Or
see
if
it
it
all.
was still here today.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, I bet when you walk in there, it has a certain smell. You can hear the floors creak behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
I
But
would shop there. I wouldn't go back
would
to Walmart.
too, but we need to take a commercial break, my
Okay.
friend.
All right. We will be right back.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Roll King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about really cool old businesses that were in Flora. And we're focusing on two big ones today. But right now we're in the middle of talking about the Scudamore Building.
That's right. The Scudamore Building that was located in two different locations. Unfortunately, one in 1916 burned down, a beautiful building, and then they relocated across the street, which is now in Flora an empty parking lot and the medical center.
Right.
So that's where we are at now. And we said when the fire burned that down, the estimated loss was $35,000. So you're talking 1916. That's a lot of money, a lot of merchandise.
A lot of money.
So let's just go back to these. Okay, so now let's start hitting some more pictures. Okay, so the Scudamore Building.
Let's look at this one.
The Scudamore had... When you talk about a mercantile, and I love the man in the back, they had men's and women's clothes, hats, boots, everything you would. It almost looks like a sailor suit on that right hand side.
I think it is a sailor suit. And what's strange to me is that it's such a small room and it's such a huge building. So do you think each department was its own little room?
I believe it was. It probably looks like it, but see how far back it goes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so they had like men and women's clothing and boots and hats, and they were very reasonably priced. These gentlemen knew the value of $1, and they were very reasonable. They did cash business, and they also did a lot of trades. So if you could not afford on the dry goods side of things,
okay.
So yeah, so like that, like like I said, can you imagine the hats and the boots and the shoes and the? We could have just. I just want to walk around that empty lot and just like feel for that today.
Yeah. Okay, so if you drive through Flora and we're wandering around an empty parking lot looking a little dazed, just know that in our imaginations,
like, come to me, CC Scudamore, please. How fun. Let's just show up another picture up there, Beth.
Look at this.
Look at this. Isn't this great? So it was also a hardware store.
Okay.
So we've got. And look at that buggy.
He even had a buggy in there. This is like the original auto parts store right here. Like look at those belts hanging from the ceilings.
Absolutely.
I think that this might be auto parts in this picture.
It is that they actually had auto parts and hardware. Look at the two ladies sitting there talking. I bet the lady in the black I bet the lady with the black and the white shirt. I bet she's probably a relative. She's probably a wife of one of the.
Yeah, I bet she's working, and then that's
she's
her
working,
customer,
and that's her customer.
Back. And then look at this guy with like posing over on the right.
Is he not great?
He's fantastic. It's winter. They all have on long sleeves, and he's just like chilling there at the auto parts store. Like, yeah,
fantastic.
Take my picture.
Yeah, look at me go. And then the other guy, he's a little bitty fella.
Yeah, he's little.
I wonder if anybody, hopefully, like we said, this is Marge Wilson's family, Dr. Wilson's.
Yeah, Dr. Calvin Wilson's.
His family, his mother's side of the family. She was a Scudamore. And I wonder, hopefully, they'll be watching our episode when it airs and they can fill us in on maybe which one of those. So would those been great uncles for her? Would that have been Marge's like great uncles or uncle? I don't know. I don't know. Talk about age, but
I'm not sure.
I don't know either. So let's put up one of our other pictures. I had a bunch of pictures of the Scudamores.
Okay, yep, here's one.
All right. They also, I'm not really sure what I'm seeing here. That looks, this is probably there, because like remember when I showed the China patterns? Because it looks like dishes and things. Because that's one reason why I chose the China patterns at the beginning of this episode. This would be something that you could have bought at the Scudamore Building.
Okay, I'm not sure. I see dishes, but it looks like bolts of fabric to me over on the right.
They did, and this is your, this is your department, Beth, because they did have fabric.
Yes, and then what's interesting is in front of the display cases on the left is a chair. So you could go and sit and look into the display case while you ordered what you needed. Maybe they're cutting fabric back there.
They probably are. Look at the picture, the posters on the top right.
I know those posters are fantastic. That one that's like the third one back.
Yes.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of the ones that we have right behind us.
Right behind us. Look at her.
Where, yeah.
Woo-woo!
Yeah.
She's like, I'm raising my glass to me.
Yes.
Look at
yes.
that. That woman is
Love that.
spectacular.
Reminds
And that
me of the same photos.
it's
so.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we have a couple more pictures, don't I? Have we got them all?
I think we might have went through. Did
Oh,
we talk
here's
about
the
this
grocery side. Yeah, there was
Okay.
grocery and dry goods. And like I said, there they are. I imagine they're meat cutting. They have their aprons on, but yeah. So you're talking. This Scudamore building had men and women's clothing, shoes, hats, hardware, mechanics, auto, fabric, dry goods, grocery. Everything you can imagine was in this store.
Yes. And like I said, it's really.
And if you notice, there's a lot of workers.
Oh yeah, they had a ton of employees that worked there.
Yeah, I mean,
each department I think had like 5 or 6 employees in it.
Yeah.
So they had to be selling a lot in order to be paying for that much help.
absolutely,
It was
yeah.
a big place. I mean, it was truly the Walmart in Flora before there was a
Oh,
Walmart. I mean,
absolutely.
And there was a lot of stores back then. I mean, there was a lot of different stores, but this
Right.
one was the big one.
It was-
This
it was
is
the
big
biggest
one,
store.
The biggest store, and from an earliest date.
Yeah.
1900.
Yeah, because it'd been neat to need what Mrs. Loretta's store would have been like, the original mercantile. And then, because it looks like once that building burnt in 1916, that when they went to the Scudamore building that stayed around till 1960, so they were in
Okay.
business.
And then did they tear it down in 60? Do we know what happened to that building?
I do not know what happened to the building. It just said that it stayed open until 1960. Now, I was born in 67, and I don't ever remember the Scudamore building being there. So I don't know if it was, I find it very difficult that when they built buildings back then, those things, you can't tear them down.
Yeah.
When somebody's like, oh, the building was condemned, bull hockey.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I think people get bored. I don't think people love the history of old buildings. And I think people are like, oh, let's just tear it down and build new. And then new never works out like the old did. I bet when they took the Scudamore building down, it probably was hard to come down.
Yeah, I bet it was very sturdy. You
I
know,
bet it was very
the
sturdy.
house that one of the Scudamore brothers lived in is the house that still stands on West 2nd Street or East 2nd Street
Yes.
that Calvin Wilson lives in.
Yes.
Dr. Wilson's house is an old home, and that is passed through the Scudamores.
Yeah.
I believe that was the original
Wonderful.
family. Yeah,
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the Scudamore building closed in 1960. I do not know when it was torn down. We can maybe revisit that. I'm sure this isn't the first or the last time we'll talk about the Scudamores. Probably.
No, it'll probably come up a
I would
lot.
imagine there was a lot of history with the gentlemen, but they were very good men, and they brought a lot to Flora, and they never did realize what happened, how the fire started.
How sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I loved it, but yeah, that's the little bit of history that we know about the Scudamores.
Okay. Do we want to move on to the number 2
I
of
do
the list today?
Yes.
Okay. So
I am
this-
excited about
yeah.
this one.
So the second thing on our list today is just basically about the Ebner Ice Plant.
Ebner?
Okay, Ebner Ice Plant. So
Okay.
this was where they made ice. And it's kind of, if you look through a lot of old pictures of Flora, you can see it in the background because there was a smokestack.
Okay.
And it shows up in a lot of pictures, but not very many people know much about it. So
I don't know. I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know much about it, so I'm excited about this.
I had to do some digging because it intrigued me because I'm like, I keep seeing this building and all of these pictures. What an ice plant? What, they just refrigerated ice, or is there more to it, or why so much ice? And so I kind of came up with a few things, but this ice plant, Ebner Ice Plant, was built in 1903. So just right after the Scudamore building was bought by the Scudamores. A few years later, this Ebner Ice, and I'm going to show you an early picture of it. And here we go. This is an early picture of the Ebner Ice Plant.
So that entire the big tall building, and then the building off to the side.
Yeah, it looks different in this picture, and I'm not sure why, but I did find this picture, and it was labeled as the Ebner Ice Plant.
Okay.
This is an early one because you can see the horses and the wagon in front of it.
Now, what year are we? You said 1903.
Yeah, I think this is probably around that time. Now, this ice plant was located on North State Street. So right now, there's just an empty lot there.
I'm lost where North State is.
So if you know where the First Christian Church is,
Yes.
this road runs back behind there.
Okay. That's right.
It kind of comes out. Blue Mound is actually North State. So, there's that road that
it kind of does that wanky.
Yeah. So it's on there. If on West 3rd, there's an old brick building that they call the old poultry house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It would be directly north of there, right behind it.
Where that entry. Yeah.
This is where the ice plant was.
Okay.
Okay. So whenever I was researching it, I wanted to know, how did it work? And why was it such a big thing? Because this ice plant employed a ton of people.
Right.
In Clay County. Basically, there was 4 different sections of the building, and we had an engine and refrigeration area. Then there was an area where the ice was produced.
Okay.
Then there was a temporary storage area, and then the main storage area. But I still didn't even understand, why was the smokestack? What are they heating up? Did they have their own little mini power plant going to make everything cold? Because this is before, air conditioning. No one really had air conditioning.
Yeah.
So what I've heard is that the flooring was frozen. They pumped something to do with ammonia. A lot of ammonia was used, and you can smell that. Was pumped through the system, and the floor was freezing cold.
Okay? The floor that you walk on.
The floor was freezing cold. How long do we have till a commercial break?
We got 3 more minutes, or 2 minutes, babe.
Okay.
And we'll go into the next segment with the ice house. This is amazing.
Okay, yeah, because there's a lot here. So these refrigeration units, they ran constantly, and they used the refrigeration not only to freeze the ice, but also to keep these rooms cold. So if you were to walk in there, it would be freezing. They also advertised it as a storage area, so people would bring things to store there. If you had a bushel of apples, I think sometimes it was brought there, although some other people said that was also taken to the poultry house, which was next door. But you could store things, if you needed to store meat over the winter or something like that, they would, I think, rent.
So they
out
offered
areas.
several services.
Yes, but basically there were these really big tanks that went down into that frozen floor, and these huge tanks held water, and then they would fill them up with water, and then they ran these. What was it called? They ran compressed air through them in hoses. So there was hoses that went through them, and that kept the air going, bubbles all through it. That way the ice froze clear instead of cloudy.
How neat.
Because if you didn't have that air going through there, you had cloudy ice. And I mean, we like our clear ice. Don't we?
I'm an ice freak.
Oh, I love good ice. And I would think that the ice was probably really
I bet it was
good at this place.
So did people, I wonder if then how did people come and do they chip? Because we're talking ice boxes. Would you in an old ice box? Would you just take a big block of ice and put it in your ice box?
Yeah, basically that's what they did. But when they froze this ice, it was in 300-pound sections.
Oh, what?
So each block of ice that went down into that tank, and then the tanks were covered with a wooden platform over it that you could actually even walk on. But that was. When those men worked hard, I'm telling you, they had to be able to move 300-pound pieces of ice.
I can't even fathom that.
Yeah, no. But anyway, let's take a commercial break, and then when we come back, I'll tell you all about the ice plant.
I'm excited.
Yes.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Give me order lumber. Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny. Call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be.
Clay County State Bank.
Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth.
And I am Stacey.
And we are talking about the Ebner Ice Plant that used to be in Flora.
This is very fascinating to me.
Yes.
Right in the dead center of Flora, pretty much.
Was,
right in town.
Right in the middle of town. Here's another picture. This one's a little later than the one I showed earlier.
I bet this is because there's that little house. So that one picture, wow.
Yeah,
now they've built a smokestack.
They've made it bigger than it was in the early days. Looks like there's a little wooden bridge across the ditch to get up into the drive to get up there, but 3 smokestacks. So a lot of these, if you find old pictures of Flora, a lot of times you might see these stacks in the distance. And I always wondered, what did that go to? Why? What's happening? Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that. I don't know. But I'm like, what's happening with the smokestacks?
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't want the building heated.
Right. Yes. But they had a lot of I don't know, technology really for the time to make it cold in there. And there was a lot to it, a lot of gauges. The men that worked there had to be able to work every department. So they had to know like the technical stuff, how to run that cooling system. And then also be able to move the 300-pound blocks of ice that they were constantly freezing within a few hours. I think it said within just several hours time, you could freeze a 300-pound block of ice. That's how cold it was. And they lowered it down into the floor, covered it with these wooden blocks, and then the system froze it. And then they would pull them out, and then they would chop the 300-pound blocks into 100-pound sections. Okay, and then these sections of ice would sometimes they would be knocked into smaller pieces, but there was a whole team of people that delivered the ice to your ice box. So back then, we didn't have refrigerators. No. We had ice boxes, and some of you younger people may be asking, well, what's the difference? I thought ice box was a word for an old refrigerator. No.
It was literally it almost looks like.
It was a glorified cooler.
Absolutely. But almost looked like almost like an old pie safe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It looked like a piece of furniture.
Yes. And
Jim's grandma Early Wine had an ice box, and Jim's sister bought that at the auction, and
cool.
That ice box was pretty cool.
Yes, because it had a section where you actually put a really large chunk of ice, and then it cooled it and kept the rest of your items.
Feeling like cool. Very insulated whenever you open that door.
Yes, it was heavily insulated. I read about those the other day, but I forgot what they insulated it with. But
and there's you don't come across them very. Grandma Early Wine. Her name was Hallie Early Wine. She was from Palestine, Illinois. Okay. She lived to be 97. It was Jim's father's mother, and she had that ice box. And my sister-in-law, Jim's sister Denise, has it, and. But I remember, and I think Grandma actually continued using. I think Hallie used it all the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, a lot of times these ice plants were right next to the railroad tracks, and I do believe at that time there was another track that ran north and south, and it would have went right by this plant. Okay.
Well, yeah. So if they remember those tracks that ran through right there, you'd have cross over.
Yeah. So if they needed to, a lot of times ice was shipped south. From other plants up north, but
because that railroad track ran north, right along where the ice plant would be, and then kind of like where Huck's is at now, and then kind of Cattywampus. It kind of went in between, like what the depot, and then
all that
one hotel in Florida that I want to cover, and then actually through the south into town, because then it's like a little like over there where Marilyn Sledge's house was out, and over on Washington Street, and actually cut down south, a railroad track I remember as a kid.
Yep.
A little bitty. You wouldn't think they could, but it wasn't like a grand. It was just like the 2 tracks.
Yes.
Neat.
Yeah. So they would use great big huge tongs to pull out of the floor these big chunks of ice. Wow. And then they would deliver to homes. And the funny thing about the delivery men, and I don't know that all of them were like this, but what I read is that you didn't have to let your Iceman in. He just came on in, and he would come.
He's carrying 300 pounds. Keep that door open.
No. He wouldn't deliver 300 pounds to each home. Each home, I think, got a 50-pound block or maybe a 25-pound block. But he would just, I don't know if they always knew what time of day he would come, but the Iceman would just come on in and put it in your ice box for you and then leave.
Wow.
Well, that's fine, but, I mean, sometimes you just don't want men just walking into your house. I mean, what?
Well, how come the milkman gets such a bad rap?
I don't know.
It must be the milkman's kid. Nobody mentioned the Iceman.
Yeah, it could have been the Iceman's kid, but I don't know. I don't know about any of that.
How funny is that? I had no idea. And the other thing is, like, because, like, we're ice users. I mean, we'll drive through Dairy Queen and just pay whatever for a cup of ice. So it wasn't like, did they actually use it in their drinks, or was it just to keep their goods?
I don't know that they used it in their drinks so
I
much.
bet they
Maybe
didn't.
in later years, because this ice plant was there until 1962. So let me show you an even later picture. Oh, no, that's the early one. This is an in-between one.
How neat.
This is an in-between one. Yeah, at this time, there's only one stack. That's a little blurry, and I apologize, but that's the best we could do. So actually, this picture here is the latest. This one's probably closer to the later years. But
I wonder if the people that owned it lived in that house.
Yeah, good
so
question.
Ebner's. I'm assuming Ebner's were a family.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a Janet Bricker that lives there in Flora. Her dad worked there for years.
Neat.
And her brother actually worked there when he was in high school, and they have an ice crushing machine. So you could buy crushed ice there if you want. And hello, who loves crushed ice? This girl.
Times two. Yes. I like it too.
I would be there buying the crushed ice. But can you imagine the ice crusher, how big that was and how scary? Her brother got his finger caught in it. When he was in high school, he worked there. He cut the end of his finger off. In that ice machine.
I can imagine how dangerous that place was.
It was dangerous. And the men worked really hard, and it was freezing cold in there. It was like 10 degrees.
Right.
And they worked like pretty much year round. They worked in that, and they would come to work. They always had to have mittens, heavy coats. They dressed like blizzards, like every single day. Like they were prepared.
I have a crazy, crazy question. So back in the beginning, you said that the floor was ice?
It was not ice. It was cold as ice.
Oh, okay.
There was a cooling.
Because I'm like, I got 300 pounds and I'm like on a skating rink there.
I would imagine that. I would imagine it was a little slick in there, because if you have a hard floor that is that cold, it would, and there's had to be moisture in the air.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I would think it would be a little bit slippery in there. But Janet says she remembers going in there when she was a little girl, and her dad letting her walk around and stuff, and she would walk on top of those wooden things that covered the freezing holes, and he told her it was okay, but she said that they all kind of jiggled and moved, and it made her nervous. I'm like, oh yeah, I bet.
I would think so.
Yeah, that sounds a little scary.
That is so impressive.
But they also had a vending machine that was on the front porch, so a lot of people, if you didn't have your ice delivered to your home, you could just pull up there and go to the vending machine and get your ice out. And she said that one of the stories I heard was that there was actually some high school boys or junior high boys, I bet. I'm going to put my money on junior high, making dumb decisions like this. They were fooling around and not really doing what they were supposed to do, I guess. Anyway, I don't know why, but one probably dared the other one to get into the vending machine. And
my gosh.
And the boy got stuck in the vending machine, the ice vending machine on the front porch. And Janet, is actually her dad, had to come and rescue that kid and pull him out of there. So, young boys that are watching, notes to selves. No, please don't climb into vending machines. Not smart.
So I wonder why they tore that building down. It was,
I don't know.
It was completely brick.
Well, they closed it in 1962.
62.
So they closed it then, and then they tore it down a couple of years later. So I'm guessing by the 60s, everybody in the 60s, they were all about building new and tearing everything down.
Right. Yeah. Shame on you, the 60s. The only thing that good came out of the 60s was yours truly. 67.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. They tore all the good stuff down in the 60s.
Oh, them hippies.
I know.
Who needs ice?
I think they probably just had a better way of making it, or maybe they were buying it from somewhere else and having it shipped in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because I would say, and we'll cover this one on a future, because we're talking the shoe factory.
Yeah,
that's an old business that we'll need to cover in one of our business episodes, and it just got torn down just a few years ago. Yeah. So, I would say it's probably out of all those old businesses, it was the last remaining huge big brick building.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the shoe factory. And, oh my gosh, yeah, I always wanted. I'm such a chicken. I'd never been in there. Of course, I was raised in the south end of town on South Locust, and I don't know why. But there was for a while, because kids would go, exploring in there, and I was just too big. I was a rule follower. If my dad said don't do it, I didn't do it, and now I wish I would have been a bad girl, because I would have loved to have gone in there. I bet that was neat.
I bet it was neat too.
Yeah, I can't remember. Brian Pride was in there, and he bought me. He was in there scavenging around, because it was that storage place.
Yeah, they used it for storage for a
Yeah,
while.
and he was in there before it was being torn down, and he brought me something back. For the life of me, I can't remember what that was, but I'll have to remember.
It really made an impression, didn't it?
Did. Oh, I know what it was. Yes. I actually have it. He found a picture of my dad, Bill Hemphill, when he was in high school on the basketball team.
Oh, cool.
And my dad graduated in 53.
Oh,
maybe.
That's so cool.
And it was a black and white picture of my dad, and I have it framed and down, hanging in our basement.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, I did. So it was. He was like, "Oh, I thought you might like this." It's Bill Hemphill's there, and I'm like, anything that has to do with my dad, I love to have. And
sure.
Yeah, so that was really neat.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of really cool industry in Flora.
Oh,
but the Ebner Ice Plant. I mean, now that you know about it, when you see those old pictures and you see those smokestacks. Yeah. You'll know. Okay, that was the ice plant.
Well, it's kind of fun that we're doing this, because Frank Hargis on Facebook puts a lot of pictures. So Frank puts pictures out there, then we steal them.
Yes. Almost all of our photos have came from Frank.
Exactly. And then we steal Frank's pictures, and then we do a little diving in, and then we find out what it's all about. And I think we're all just I think we all long for nostalgia.
I think so too.
I even the most up to date technology geek, whatever. I think we all really long for the past.
I think so too, and you can learn so much from the past.
Absolutely.
And there's just even like those old advertisements. You just learn so much about life, what it was like back then. But I'm just glad I didn't work at the Ebner Ice Plant.
Oh, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, no.
I hate to be cold.
I don't like to be cold. Oh, they said it. They also said that in the summer it was really hot, because you had to do some stuff on the outside of the building to keep it cool on the inside.
Yeah.
So you were either inside freezing, or you were out on the roof
melting.
It was like one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
Those poor men.
How neat.
Yeah. So.
Well, I've loved our Scudamore Building and our Ebner Ice Plant, and now it's time to talk about the rules to live by.
Ooh, okay. Rules to live by for today. What are they?
All right. This is interesting. Be engaged 6 months before getting married.
Oh, good advice. My husband and I were engaged for 5 months, so that's fine. Close enough.
I can't remember.
I'll say 5 or 6.
I think Jim and I, we were married in November of 88. Gosh, darn it. We weren't married. I don't think we were engaged for very long.
Yeah.
Actually, Jim and I, we lived together before we got married, and it was just kind of like, what are we doing? Let's just get married.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I think that all happened it wasn't like planning a wedding. It seems like people that plan weddings now, they're planning for 2 years.
That's a little crazy. I watched an episode of Dr. Phil one time, and he had really good advice. And he said, hey, if you are engaged for longer than a year and a half or 2 years, it's never going to work. Mm-hmm. Like, you're putting it off.
Right.
There was a guest on there, and they'd been engaged for 5 years.
Oh, come on!
And she was wondering, like, when are we ever going to get married? Why won't he set a date? And Dr. Phil kind of gave it to her, and he's like, look, he's not going to marry you.
He's just not that into you.
Yeah, he's just not that into you. He is leading you along.
He is leading you along. I like this. So that's 6 months.
Mm-hmm. 6
months,
at
least 6
girls.
months, and then call it a day.
Yes.
And I think we're getting ready to call it a day.
We are. I think we're
wonderful.
Well done for today.
So don't forget, if you see us wandering around, just ignore us.
Yeah.
Just honk and go by.
There they are, dreaming of the past.
Yeah, there. All right.
Oh, shoot. Well, thanks for joining us
all
on, by the
right.
way.
Have
We'll
a
see you
great
next
day.
time.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you.